on yet another Sunday leg day here in New York City. It's been quite a tumultuous week for a variety of reasons, but I stand before you personally victorious. I even let myself leave the gym a little early today because I'm so happy with what I was able to accomplish with today's training. A little side rant. There is a glitch that I'm pretty sure is on the Apple side that I'm hoping will be fixed when iOS 19/26 is released in a couple of days. I've noticed all too often when I go to do anything that involves me activating the cameras on my iPhone 15 Pro Max that I can't get the camera to start unless I completely restart the phone. Otherwise, it'll show a black screen. And I really hope that Apple fixes it because I'm almost certain it's on Apple's side. Because it's not just happening in the YouTube app, it's happening in other third-party applications as well, and it's really goddamn annoying. All right, so you guys see the title of 282. Plain and simple, I was able to hit a new PR today, and when I really thought about it, I was like, nope, no YouTube videos, no podcast. I'm going back to the tried and true. Put Apollo, I'm burning star for From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness, the third studio album from Coheed and Cambria. And I can tell you that it really made a difference today. First of all, I got my way through the squat, 2 sets of 8 at 255, 2 sets of 8 at 225, and I paid more attention to my breathing cycle, and it benefited me greatly to get through the tough reps. And then, of course, as I was fatigued, 225 is heavier than 225 once you've already done 255 first. So I had a much better time with the squat today than I anticipated. I did not wake up with a lot of good energy today. Today was not a good energy day for me. I didn't have a lot of positive thoughts swimming around in my head either. I didn't eat that many calories either on my way to the gym. But I ended up in a pretty decent position overall because I got through. The leg press was like a million times easier than I was expecting. So it gave me some good vibes. But I really did not enter the gym today with great energy. And because of that, I did not have a lot of confidence going into today. But I went through my movements, and one of the things that helped me is that I kind of amped myself up. I knew that I'd never touched 385 on the deadlift for more than one rep. In fact, I'm not sure I've ever deadlifted 385. Sure, I've done singles at 405. I've done singles at 425. But I have, for the most part, done singles or, small sets at 365 until this year, and then just skipped to the 1RM, hunting for that 1RM and completely bypassing 385. And part of the reason why I bypassed 385 is because I don't want to waste any energy. I don't want to waste any energy on lifting a weight that I know I can lift for one, uh, when I'm hunting for something else. So today was probably the actual first time I was attempting a deadlift that was actually 385 pounds. And I said to myself, I said, I was basically negotiating with myself. I will just do 3 sets if I can get sets of 6 off. If I can get sets of 6 off, I will just leave the gym and be happy. In fact, I'll even skip the leg extensions and the leg curls if I can get 3 sets of 6 at 385. Because the way I see it, if I can get sets of 6 at 385, then when I do start doing my strength sets next month, I can safely go for sets of 3. And I've never done more than 1 at 405 before in my life. It's always just been singles on a max test. But to be able to do sets of 3 at 405 would be a big deal for me. It may not be a big deal for you, but for somebody skinny like me, it's a big deal, right? So I wanted to try it today and see if I had it within me to hit the target amount of reps. I knew I could do 385 for, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 repetitions, right? But I wasn't really sure if I could hit hypertrophy sets at 385. So I had a really cool dude at the gym today help me out by taking a video. And I guess if I can find a way to make a short of it, I will. But for the first time ever, not only did I lift 385 on the deadlift, I did it 4 sets of 6. And it wasn't even really that bad. In part because I was in such a good mood because of the music. I skipped straight to Welcome Home and then kind of moved through GA1, as some of us fans call it. Just moved through GA1, and it actually went by, pretty easily. And I'm very happy because, this week has been a little bit on the rough side. There's a lot of uncomfortable things happening out in the world. There's a lot of uncomfortable conversations that are being had right now on some very serious topics. And, sometimes it feels good to just forget all of that stuff, put on your favorite music, and go out and smash a deadlift PR, And I am so thankful that I'm in a position that I have my health, that I have a proper degree of financial security, that I can go after these vain goals. I mean, they're really vain goals, these strength goals. And I can afford to attack these things and try to keep things in their proper perspective. It really does seem to me that we have a problem in our society with people being able to keep things in their proper perspective. That's been something that's been lost in our society this week. Oh, there we go. Glad I didn't make that lane change. there's just been a lot of problems with people being able to be moral, reasonable adults because of whatever affiliation that they claim, which is really weird to me because I think about the fact that we use the colors red and blue for political. Hey, Mrs. Evil. Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. We the colors that we use for political affiliation are red and blue. Guess who else uses red and blue for their affiliations? Well, the two major criminal street gangs, the Bloods and the Crips, they use red and blue as well. And I think that conservatives and liberals both rightfully look down upon those gangs and the gang members, but you guys are really no different in principle. You guys know that you guys really aren't that different as people, but you've just chosen to believe in one side in a blanket way that does not include any kind of forethought. It doesn't include context. You ride for your team and you're in the flag that your gang flies, and you don't care about anything but that. And then when one does something that is wrong, you're quick to point it out and start talking about revenge. I mean, really, what is the difference between this culture war and the Bloods of the Crips? I don't see the difference. Everybody always thinks that they are superior and they're in the right and they're the ones that have been wronged, but they're very quick to forget how they've wronged other people. They've been quick to forget how the thing that they're crying about, people on their side have done the same thing. I think that a lot of conservatives have been rightly indignant at the disgusting response to Mr. Kirk's untimely murder. But then I had to think about it. Again, this is that I play for one team and I ride for my team type of bullshit, where it was like all of these people talking about humanity. I would like to see your social media posts when people were doing the George Floyd challenge. When people were doing the George Floyd challenge, where were the conservatives talking about how disgusting that was and calling for people to lose their jobs? When people were doing the George Floyd challenge, when people were celebrating the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012, where was the righteous indignation from the political right then? And they would have been right to be they would have been right to be indignant. But can we keep that same energy across the board? Because I know for myself as a liberal, I am not tolerating any Charlie Kirk mocking. I'm not tolerating any Charlie Kirk slander. I'm not taking any of that shit. So I keep that same energy regardless of who is at fault or who has been victimized. My morals go across the board, and I would like for many people to start asking themselves that question. Do your morals go across the board, or can you only recognize right and wrong when you are in the group of people perceived to have been wronged? Is that the only time when you can understand wrongdoing? Can you look at the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse illegally obtained a weapon, crossed state lines, after crossing state lines, and went to go play SWAT officer at age 17 and ended up panicking to the point where he took 2 people's lives. I saw a lot of celebrating about the lives that he took. I saw a lot of celebrating from the political right. But you guys can recognize when political violence is wrong when it happens to your side. But you have every excuse in the world for why it's acceptable to happen to people you don't like. And until both sides can really call out the BS on their own sides, we're going to be stuck on this hateful carousel. This hateful carousel that features a lot of finger pointing at every direction except self. At every direction except the mirror. Here on DEG, over on TSP, we are not accepting any Charlie Kirk mockery or slander. But I challenge some people that may not agree with me on ideological lines to also call out the wrongdoing when it is perpetrated by people who do agree with you from a paradigm perspective. You know, I've heard a lot of liberals say, oh, Charlie Kirk wasn't a good person. When I actually look at a lot of the quotes that I heard about Charlie Kirk, I probably agree with 75 to 80%. The rest of it was ignorant. The 20 or 25% that I thought was ignorant, that's what makes a bad person? If that's the case, then we all need to be unceremoniously and extrajudiciously removed from the census, because you can't point to a single human being that hasn't said something that was ignorant or hurtful to some group out there somewhere, some way. Liberals do it all the time. Every time I tell a liberal, hey, you know, if you want to have these conversations, you need to do so with proper decorum. Well, they don't deserve to be spoken to with respect. Okay. All right. When you don't get what you want out of those people, don't be surprised. But we need to get to a point in society where we can... I think the only way is when the bad actors are shunned by their own. When the bad actors are shunned by their own, it will open up more proper discourse where we don't look at our neighbors as our enemy. But if we're only going to call out the wrongdoing on the other side, we're fucking toast. We're toast. We're toast as a society. If we can only point out the straw in someone else's eye when we have a rafter in our own eye, all of us are going to continue to blindly do wrong to each other. That's all I got for you. I gotta eat. I did 18 reps on the deadlift at 365. I'm very proud of myself. I want you guys to go out there and do something that makes you proud of yourself. If you want any tips on fitness, definitely put the comments in the comment box down below. I answer all fitness related questions to help you reach your goals. I guess I'll answer any other questions too while I'm at it. But you guys keep your head up. Don't let the negativity get you down. And make sure that you don't just hold other people accountable. Hold yourself accountable first. Hold yourself to the highest standard before talking about the standards that other people need to adhere to. Let's talk about our own standards first. Any help that you guys want from me, comment section down below. Until episode 283, I'll see you next time.